woman that wants to be a wife versus a woman that just wants a husband?
Oh, you know what? I think most of us are bred to just want a husband, whereas to be groomed and trained to be a wife means to understand how to respect masculine energy, how to truly be inside of your feminine, which means trusting the leadership of your partner, because feminine chooses certainty. Feminine doesn't choose flow, because feminine is flow, right? Feminine energy. When we choose to understand that it is our biggest opportunity to seek out the needs of a man without him expressing them, I think a beautiful opportunity for us to empower that man and ride through the storms. I feel like we live in a weak generation where things get hard and people immediately are like, oh, I quit, this is too hard. And that's like, it's never going to hinder you the result you want. If you keep quitting, it's to be groomed as a wife means it's compassion, it's longevity. That's where marriage starts. When you get married, you say, I do, it starts. Whereas other people, it's like, when you get married, I made it. No, you didn't make it. You hate that man. You hate that woman. Y'all can't stand each other. You don't care enough to not disrespect each other or call each other out of your own name. You don't care enough to not want to sleep on opposite sides of the bed when there's a problem. You don't care enough to have the hard conversation so that you can move together more powerfully. That's just to have a husband. But when you want to be a wife, things are different, in my opinion.
That's very true. What is the
Go
difference
ahead.
between a woman that wants to be
Wow,
a
that's
wife?
powerful. I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Ashton. Shout out to Ashton. The Shiesty Avenger leader is in the building.
Shout outs to Ashton, but shout outs to Natasha Vincent for
Who
all
be
your
doing?
support, for showing love. She had went and got the book. Shout
Wait,
outs
she
to
got the first guy.
I,
How she beat
listen,
me?
I don't know. Shout outs to her. Shout outs to her. Tears of joy. Tears of joy. Yeah.
Wow, man,
Yeah.
that's true love. How she beat me?
She
I'm
she
supposed to
said
get.
she's supporting the game.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but go ahead, Stephanie Walking. Chime in. Go ahead with
Ooh,
that.
it starts off with me first.
Yeah.
I think this is a topic that isn't talked about enough when we're talking about relationships. Um, I completely agree with her. When we are getting into relationships, often it's like this tokenism. You know what I mean? And maybe even on both sides, where it's like you're not kept unless you have a man, or you're not valued unless you have a man. And on the flip side, like I feel like it's a double standard because guys don't have to kind of move. You feel me? Like guys aren't looked down upon if they're not taken. But for a woman, societal standards is like, oh, you have to get a man. And I think this pressure of like get married, get married, get married overshadows like what that really looks like. So I completely agree. Like there is a lot of work that has to go into before I decide to get into this union with this individual. Do I have the capacity to compromise with some of their flaws and vice versa? Right? Like vice versa. Do they have the capacity to deal with my flaws? Because you are seeing, I know you all heard it, like girls being like, oh, I'm getting married. Hopefully this will be better when I have this baby and we get married. He'll want me more. You feel what I'm saying? Like we treat marriage as if it's either like it's a fixer upper for my circumstances, or it's like token so I can look good because as a woman, because a man wants to keep me. So yeah, I think there's two different paradigms in it, and I agree. Like we have to be able to really do the work.
Man, you going in. Shout out to
Yeah,
Laura Price. Shout out to Laura Sprite Proteins in the building. Great to see you, my brother. I ain't seen you in a long time, but it's great to see you. He said you making some great sense.
Yeah.
yeah,
Shout out to DB as well, also
DB.
in the building.
yeah.
My
Oh
take
yeah.
is, I always talk about we always have a miscommunication issue when it comes to women. I'm talking about from the man aspect. Like let's say we'll go and meet a woman and we think that woman may be the one for us, and then let's say we end up marrying that woman, but yet we still missing that communication piece because we thinking,
Yeah.
okay, the woman's already know me
Mm-hmm.
for a very long time. She's already know me, so I don't have to do too much. She should already know my ways. But the problem is just that we live in a society where that they teach men not to be emotional. They teach men to only focus on the logic side of things. You know, I was talking to a great friend of mine, and she was telling me how when you're a man should also understand a woman that you're dealing with someone that's emotional. So you got to know the difference. It's okay to be logical, but it's okay to also show your emotion to that woman. But then you have other guys that's telling men like us, we're not supposed to show our emotion. I see
Yeah.
talks about that a lot. So Hakeem, go ahead, dive in.
One of us, Stephanie, my brother, y'all give great points, and I want to point this out in 3 different ways, and I want y'all to see if I'm wrong or not. So,
Mhm.
so when I look at this as far as the pressures of women getting married and stuff, because DB just said it. Shout outs to DB. She said, "I agree with women are pressured into getting married and having kids. So oftentimes women get married just to say married." Here's my first point. Is
I
it
agree.
men, is it when we say society, is it men that's pressuring the women, or
Mm.
or your homegirls who are getting married around you and having kids and telling you, girl, or your family members? Not the guy,
Mm.
Mm.
look at it from that, but not the guys you're dating, because most of the time they're not going to ask men unless there's some guy who's crazy about you. So I do think sometimes women are pressured due to the fact that the spaces are they're in and the crowds that they're running with, if
Mm.
people start dropping off, like damn, Shamika just got married, LaShonda got a baby, she ain't coming around no more. Now you saying to yourself, okay, she's not coming on the girls' trips anymore. What's going on? She said, girl, I'm with dude over here. I'm gonna have to hit you
Mhm.
back. So now that brings in much pressure. So now the tribe is shortened. Another point I'm gonna put is this: a lot of us don't come from traditional homes. Let's put that out there. And after I'm with, a lot of us don't come from traditional homes. It is futile to try to make somebody acquiesce to a lifestyle they don't know nothing of. My mother and father been married 43 years.
Wow.
You know,
That's what's up.
still together. My dad doesn't have no outside kids.
Let's go.
Doesn't have no outside kids, but he was the biggest asshole. And
Mm.
he don't know about buying gifts for birthdays, but he paid the rent and came home every day.
Mm.
Now they come from a different era and a different time. Yes, there was problems. My mother explained that to me, but she said that was the best fit for her, and as her evaluation of men in her time, who was going to be the better father, the better companion, and he has proved himself. Now here's the thing. Go ahead, brother.
No, I want to ask you a question. Can it be also because they was raised in a different generation?
One
They
hundred
those
percent.
because those type
Mhm.
of generation, they shine upon divorce.
100%.
This generation, women are quick to get divorced, and also the men as well. I'm not gonna say women, but men as well. Go ahead.
For the simplest things, women will get divorced. When you start to notice, when people start saying unequally yoked, it's not just from a spiritual sense, it's from a mental, from a personality, from just an everyday type stuff. And not only that, though, if you're going back to what I'm saying, and I want y'all to take this, if certain people come from a single family household and doesn't understand the certain dynamics. I'm a man who come from a 2-parent household, and I get with a woman who mama been running everything. I'm telling you, no, I don't want you to do this. You're gonna say, nigga, you tripping.
Mm.
Now you I'm gonna come in wanting to pay bills, making sure you straight, holding shit down. I'm gonna tell you, hey, when I come home at the work, and mind you, I'm gonna do this at the dating stage.
Yeah.
At the dating stage, and this where some conflict come, where we go back to the same conflict with somebody. I'm not going to be a girlfriend doing wife stuff at a girlfriend. You're going to meet a southern man like me who go to work every day, got good credit, don't got no babies, who's ready to get married, is telling you, hey, when I come to your crib, make sure something cooked. Nigga, you tripping? So this is a rub around compared to women might deal with a man who ain't been in a 2-parent household, and he don't mind nothing like that. He say, girl, let's go out to eat, but he might not be willing acclimated to commit, or
Mm.
he's willing to put his hands on you. So there's different variables, and it's multi-layered. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is a lot to unpack. I think going back to like your very first point, we're talking about like these societal standards for women and where they came from. And you're like, what, was it men who kind of set these standards? And I feel like in westernized society, yes, predominantly men set the standard for what number one made a woman attractive, but also two set the standard for how women should thrive. You should be at home making babies. You should have a wife. You should be at home cooking dinner. So like all of these standards are kind of put into place by men, right? Because at the end of the day, like, women have always been the backbone, the rib for men. I don't care what anybody says. That's just what it is. Like, our job as women is to love, right? And to make your house a home. That's literally, even that's biblically. And then men, your job is to provide and to protect. And so I think now there's like this evolution of women understanding their power and their feminine energy, and not just your feminine energy, but just our power alone. And it's not it's not resonating with a lot of men who have this old ideal of what a woman should look like. And I think when we're looking at getting married and being in a union with someone and that giving weight to me as a woman, I think there are pressures from yes family, specifically your elders. It's not like, I am 42. I have no kids. Like, and my mom and my aunts are always like, bitch, is you gay? And I'm like, no. Like, you don't want no babies? I'm like, listen, I don't want to be nobody baby mother, right? I'm trying to be a wife before I jump into, and I think that is the problem. Like, they are willing to sacrifice their peace of mind just to subside, just to uphold this image of what womanhood should look like. And so you are getting outside pressure from your family. I feel like my friends know what it is. They love on me. So it's like not any pressure, but it's definitely like these societal standards that are like, hurry up, your clock is ticking. Hurry up and have kids. If you don't have kids now, they're drying up. Like, if I meet another man that asks me, why ain't you got no kids? And be like, listen, just because I have good pum pum management does not mean it's something wrong with me. Like, go ahead. I see you.
Now I wanted to ask you a question.
No, but shout out to Josh W in the
Shout
building.
out to
Also,
Josh.
D the generous
That was
in the
a good.
building. Go ahead.
But let me ask you a question, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Do your friends' lifestyle ever give you pressure?
Ooh, okay. So let's get into that, because you did talk about that.
Yeah, like,
because a lot of my friends I've been knowing since, I was in my 20s, like college, like that's where a lot of them are getting married. A lot of them do have kids. So like the way I am able to freely move and go about, a lot of my friends are not. And I will say, if I could be really transparent with y'all, there was this point where I was like, Lord, just bring me some friends who can move like me. Like, Lord, just put the right people in my space so that I can, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't mean I don't love my friends, but I don't want to be disrespectful to their unions. I don't want to be disrespectful I love them that much to say, listen, I can find something else to feed this void for me. Which kind of brings me back to another point. When we're talking about marriage, we're really talking about relationship, and what are you willing to do to make that shit work? Does that mean outsourcing some of your wants and needs so that you can compromise for your mate? But we're going to leave that someplace else. But I do feel like my friends, it did bother me, but it didn't really pressure me, because again, like, I was on the opposite side. My parents were divorced from the age, I was like 13, but my dad was like in the military. So he was in the military. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. He definitely was an alcoholic. He was abusive. So it wasn't like, I did not have this healthy environment of relationship or the example of relationships growing up. So I said all that to say, like, I am not pressed to rush into a relationship out of the fear of ending up like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, ending up in a union or a
That was my
connection.
question. That was the question I wanted to ask you, because I want to say, you think that kind of hinder you from finding a healthy relationship because what you saw between your own father and mother?
Yeah, being
for
scared.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Like, before I started my own healing, like, I see a therapist. Everybody, I think everyone should.
We all have.
Yeah. So I feel like before, like, I was a runner. So like in the clip where she was like, this generation is weak, we run at the sign of discomfort or disagreement. I agree, because there is this pocket of being uncomfortable with like healing, or identifying what you're dealing with. And there was, for me, definitely, like, things would pop up for me and I'd be like, oh no, I'm not dealing with that, I'm out. Like, it's stuff that I could probably deal with. Like, now that I look back, I'm like, oh, I could have worked through that. But I was a runner, baby. I was like, oh no, no, I'm out. My friends be like, what the hell is wrong with you? And it's just out of fear. Like, I don't want to get caught up in thinking I am in union, in love, in relationship with someone, only for them to turn and be this beast.